Before there was certainty, there was a sick kid who gave himself up so that his family could live on after the earth was left uninhabitable. Because of his sacrifice, he was rewarded with the gift of immortality and continues to live above all humanity. Bea rolled her eyes as the speaker went on. She had heard this speech 1,000 times over. Her earliest memories were of this stupid story. Blah blah blah, immortality this, selflessness that. You would think her eyes would get tired of rolling after all these years. And this kid's sacrifice is why humanity will outlast the burning of the final stars. But most people have never heard of this hero, even fewer know his name. Does anyone here know who we owe everything to? Her hand shot up instantly. She was tired of the same song and dance the speakers did every week. Everyone here knew the name. Everyone here was crazy enough to believe it. She only knew it because she couldn't get away from it. That kid was Samuel Lex, my great. A smile escaped the corners of her mouth. At least this bit never got old. Great. The speaker held up his hand. I'm sure we get the idea now, Beatrice. This kid is your cousin, in some form or another. She sank back into her seat. Of course they would take this away from her too. She puffed out her cheeks and looked at the big window behind the podium the speaker stood on. There were so many colors out there. The sparkling blue of the ocean that separated her from the rest of humanity. The vibrant greens of the shores beyond the commune. She wanted to see it all. She wanted to see beyond the window here. She wanted to see something other than the hues of purple she had spent her life confined to. She wanted to explore more than anything in the world, but the commune wouldn't let her. The commune was less of a community and more of a cult she was raised in. A cult dedicated to the immortals. People Bea was sure had to be dead by now, or robots, or aliens, or anything besides an actual human that couldn't die. But she was trapped here because the first immortal happened to be related to her, and now they wanted to make her immortal too. The speaker droned on of immortality and its many trials, and she considered taking up the offer of living forever. She didn't want to live forever, mostly because she was scared she would get bored of it, and she hated being bored. And there was no way out of it if she ever did get bored. She would be stuck forever with her cousin and the other immortals, if they even existed, and the only thing Bea hated more than being bored was being trapped. And then there was the fact that there was no telling whether being immortal was real in the first place. For all she knew, her cousin and everyone else the stories talk about died, and the people just pretend they're alive so that they have something to believe in. They all say that the old posters and videos they have is proof, but for all she knows, they could have died at any point after that. She sighed as the closing remarks were said, eyes still fixated on the window. But if it was real, at least I would be out of here, she thought to herself. At least I could see a bigger piece of the world than this. She always wondered what was out there, the people she could meet that weren't obsessed with her family, the adventures to be had outside the commune walls. She's tried to sneak out a few times, but the gates were always guarded, and the wall was too tall to climb. The window remained her only hope. She figured she could cut her way out from there. It was a wooden frame with a rope netting across it, so it wasn't like it was glass, it wasn't like it would make noise if she broke it. The idea stuck in her mind. It wouldn't be difficult to sneak in and cut the ropes. Not more difficult than what she's already tried. The speaker stepped down from the podium and the room emptied out. Bea was the last to leave. She glanced at the window as she thought of her plan. She knew that realistically, she wouldn't get far. She was only 14. Even if she did manage to make it off the island the commune was on, she wouldn't have a way to make money. But she had no other way out. Her parents would never let her. The commune wouldn't let her. She would live and die in the same spot she's always been if she didn't take the chance. She didn't want to die here. Not without seeing the world first. Not without being her own person. That night, Bea found the sharpest pair of scissors she could and snuck back to the podium room. Once she climbed up the window, she went to work slicing the ropes. They were thicker than she had originally thought. The scissors weren't big enough to make the job easier either. While she was right about the lack of noise when the first rope broke, the hours trickled by faster than she could cut the rest. By the time the sun's first rays peeked over the horizon, she still needed to sever the last rope. She knew everyone would be waking up soon. She knew she didn't have much time left. Though her arms were killing her, she sawed into the rope with as much energy as she could muster after a sleepless night. Freedom awaited her. Her whole life awaited her. The final rope was cut as the speaker of the day entered the podium room. Bea let out a frenzied laugh. It's too late! I've done it! I'm free! People scrambled into the room. They tried to step up to the podium to get her down, and she just threw the ropes at them. Beatrice Lex, what in immortality's name do you think you're doing? Her father's voice boomed from across the room. Bea glared. I'm out of here. No offense, but I don't want to spend my whole life in a doomsday cult obsessed with a guy I'm related to. She stepped out onto the ledge. The ocean air gave her the final burst of energy she needed to jump out and escape. She had never felt more alive than in that moment. As she fell out the window, a fire inside her she thought was all but extinguished lit up in a blaze of hope. The taste of freedom was the last thing she remembered as she plunged into the cold ocean. She blacked out. Bea awoke a few hours later in the infirmary. Despite her jump into the sea, she managed to be pulled out with only a few bruises and a stuffy nose, and she was grounded for calling the commune a cult. Her parents locked her in the museum, the place where they kept all the old posters and videos of the immortals, a windowless room of propaganda. She wandered the space until she came up to a framed poster of her cousin. The words read, "Become the future. Join ship." In the center of the poster, there he stood, looking happy at the fact he'll live forever, inviting her to join him. Her escape had failed, and she would likely never get a chance to even look through that window again. She had run out of options, and she was running out of time. A muffled sob escaped her as she sunk to the concrete floor. She wanted out. She never chose this. It wasn't her fault this guy was sick a million years ago. It wasn't her fault she looked like him. She shot up and stared at the boy in the poster. How come he got to have fun? How come he got to be free? If he really has been around for a million years, how isn't he bored of it? Was life outside the commune walls really exciting enough to fuel a million years' worth of adventures? Her reflection in the glare of the glass caught her eye, and the realization hit her. There was one more chance she had to escape this place, and it was standing in front of her the whole time. There's only one way out, she thought. The only way out of here. I need to become immortal too, just like they all said. She curled up underneath the poster that night, trying to sleep but not being able to. Living forever was scary, but spending her life in the commune wouldn't be living at all. The thing that finally lulled her to sleep was the stories they might tell of her. Before there was certainty, there was a girl who jumped out the window in search of adventure, but her family wanted to keep her trapped on an island. When she finally stopped fighting them, she was granted the gift of immortality, and now she adventures the universe, forever and ever.